A former Transnet executive and managers of a company that did maintenance work for the SOE have all been granted bail of 10,000 rand by the Johannesburg Specialised Commercial Crimes Court sitting in Palm Ridge. They face charges of corruption and money laundering related to a contract worth 25 million rand. To get you a live update now, go to our reporter Mnisi, who was in court. Linda, tell us more about the profiles of the accused and what they're alleged to have done in this case.
Well, you'll remember, Tembegile, that there was about 3 accused persons who appeared before this court this morning, and that is Kenneth Diedrichs, who was the former head of legal and forensics at Transnet, as well as 2 managers of Poly Zomba. In fact, their names are Charles Pretorius as well as Refilwe Martins. This relates, of course, to that 25 million rand settlement, which the state says it was unauthorized, paid to Poly Zomba, back in 2011. Now, this followed a contractual dispute, but the state is alleging that the payment of that settlement was unauthorized, and as a result, the head of legal as well as forensics in Transnet received a kickback of about 300,000 rand. That money is alleged to have been used to pay for a deposit of a property which is situated in Basonia. As you've just mentioned now, they've received 10,000 rands bail each. And to talk more about this case, I'm joined by the NPA's Pindi Jonondwande. Pindi, thank you so much for your time. I want us to talk about this case. I mean, 2011, you're alleging that this 25 million rand was unauthorized, paid to this company that was doing maintenance for Transnet, and the kickback, 300,000 rands, which he allegedly used to pay, for a deposit of a property in Basonia.
Indeed, yes, Linda. As the state, we are alleging that the head of legal services at Transnet, who is Mr. Diedrichs, he unlawfully authorized a settlement of over 25 million rands to Poly Zomba in 2011, and thereafter also received gratification worth 300,000 rands that we are alleging that he further used that amount to pay as a deposit when he purchased his home at Basonia in the south of Johannesburg.
Accused number 1, being the former head of legal and forensics, claims that at the time that this payment was made, he was also investigating some of the people, some of the executives, in fact, at Transnet, and he believes that this is a counter-reaction in his affidavit. This case is a counter-reaction. Do you agree with that as the NPA?
Well, we believe that the accused person knows the proper channels to follow in making sure that his voice is heard in terms of what he has alleged before court. But for now, as the NPA, we are charging him with fraud and money laundering in this matter, as per evidence that is contained in the docket. So as to whether or not he was investigating individuals at Transnet, as the NPA, we cannot be involved in something that has not been brought to us for criminal liability.
Talk to us about, what was said by the prosecutor at the beginning of these proceedings, talking about how accused number 1 got a hold of him and tried to reach out to him. But, of course, his lawyer saying that did no harm. How do you view that as a state, an accused person making contact with the prosecutor in the matter?
Well, we view that in a very serious light as the NPA, hence the need for the prosecutor to bring it to the court's attention, because it then dwells into issues of a person's integrity, and hence the prosecutor had then to report to court that this is what transpired, for the court to warn the accused to desist from such behavior, as the accused can only talk about the case through his legal representation, not directly calling the prosecutor. That is unethical, and it can never be allowed.
All right, I want to thank you so much for your time. That's been John Ndwane from the NPA Tembekile talking to us about this case and what the state, is alleging in this corruption as well as money laundering case. They've been granted 10,000 rands bail each, and among some of the conditions that have been placed is, of course, the issue around their passports. The state saying that they can keep their passports, but must report to the state 2 weeks prior should they wish to leave the borders of this country. So the matter now being postponed to the 7th of March next year for pre-trial hearings.
Linda Mnisi, thank you very much for that update.